The Suzuki Swift has taken Suzuki from nowhere to a very competitive position in the UK super mini sector. Not bad for a manufacturer without much of a track record in class-leading small cars. It looks great, is well priced, decently put together, and has the option of a frugal diesel engine if you can justify the price premium. New arrivals mean that the Swift isn't the standout forgotten choice it was at launch, but it's still a small car that's well worth a place on your shortlist. The Suzuki Swift is a small car that's really put its brand on the map. A small runabout that's chunkily good looking. It's a car that you want to be seen in. Now, Suzuki threw away their Japanese ideas when designing this car, instead turning to Europeans for the kind of style-conscious, quality-driven approach that really works in the West. It's a handsome-looking machine with crisp shut lines inside and out, and a high-quality paint finish and an equally high-quality cabin. You've got a nicely laid out dash here, high quality materials, decent level of standard equipment. You've also got plenty of room for front seat passengers and those at the rear, although the boot is quite tight with all the seats in place. Take a seat inside and you'll come across a more imaginative approach than you might have been expecting. The three-circle instrument panel features a rev counter with the 0 right at the bottom, just like a Suzuki motorbike. You've also got a stereo system that's been carefully integrated into the centre panel rather than being a cheap-looking aftermarket unit festooned with little buttons. Just to add to its ease of use, there are steering wheel stereo controls for all models on the wheel here. Thanks to height adjustment on the driver's seat, it's easy to find a good position at the helm, although more nervous types may worry about parking in tight spots given the way the nose falls away from view. The steering, well, it's quick and light, great especially around town, and the short throw gear stick is also good to use. On the open road, this car's cheeky looks, well, they don't flatter to deceive. It really is up for a bit of fun. As I've said, the steering's sharp and responsive, and there's plenty of grip too. As I've said, this is a very handsome machine, featuring a pronounced bonnet line and a very shapely contour along the shoulders. A wide front air dam, big headlamps, they give the car a very distinctive face, and the wheel at each corner stance gives it a feeling that it's solidly planted to the road. The black pillars create a floating greenhouse effect, and the wraparound glazing promotes all-round better visibility. Now at the rear of the car it's even more expressive, with the rear roof melding into this integrated spoiler, and you've got these thick-set haunches. Now the interior is also very different from what we've come to expect from Suzuki. Again, a wraparound theme dominates with smoothly curved surfaces and a number of bright ideas. This is one of the widest cars in its class. Now add that to Suzuki's use of a long wheelbase and very compact engines, and it's not surprising that it's very roomy in here, plus you've got a 213-litre boot. Though the rear seats fold forward, they don't slide or do anything particularly clever in the way that you'd find in, say, a Honda Jazz or a Toyota Yaris. There are plenty of storage spaces around the cabin though. You've got 3 cup holders, a drawer under the front passenger seat, and a convenience hook back here in the boot. Now prices, well, they sit in the usual £8,000 to £12,000 bracket common to most super minis. And engines, well, in the mainstream range you've got a choice of 3. There's a 91 brake horsepower 1.3 litre petrol, 100 brake horsepower 1.5 litre petrol, and a 1.3 litre diesel with 64 brake horsepower. Now, as far as standard equipment is concerned, it's pretty good across the range, and that all includes a centrally mounted information display with fuel consumption, time and outside temperature functions. The big thing weighing in the Swift's favour is its obvious value for money, but what about ongoing running costs? Well, in terms of pence per mile figures, these are figures that take into account things like depreciation, servicing, insurance, cost of finance and so on. It's the 1.3 litre petrol models that work out cheapest to run, the 3-door costing about 30 pence per mile. At the pumps, a 1.5 litre petrol model will return a combined fuel consumption figure of 43.5 miles per gallon, which is good, but emit 159 grams per kilometre of CO2, which isn't quite so stellar. For low emissions, you need to turn to the 1.3 litre DDIS diesel, which puts out just 119 grams per kilometre of CO2, slipping it down to the Inland Revenue's more affordable Band B and exempting it from the London congestion charge. You can see why Suzuki have done so well with this Swift model. Yes, the petrol engines perhaps could be cleaner or more high-tech, but the overall package is one that's good looking, sharply styled inside, decently equipped, fun to drive. Yes, there are super minis around that make more sense, but sometimes sensible can wait.